Doing? Faithful here. It's Thursday morning. Yeah, right now we're live. So I guess you guys know what time it is. It's beautiful here. It's a great spring day. Girls are doing well. Sarah literally just sent me a message. She did pretty good on her chemistry test, so she showed the results. It was nice. I'm excited. This weekend should be great weather, and I've been planning on doing a lot of yard work this weekend. We I just ordered a composter, and I'm hoping to kind of connect with nature by doing yard work. Is that kind of a weird thing to be excited about doing yard work? I don't know. I am. I have no idea why. I think it's just being outside, um, adding, maybe contributing. I think that'll be fun. Today, I mentioned we're going to celebrate a little bit. Have you guys ever planned on celebrating, or maybe a party, maybe event you got so excited about and something happened and maybe set it off a bit, kind of triggered something, wasn't exactly as you planned, and it kind of ruined the whole thing? My daughter Elizabeth last year, she was going to her first sleepover. COVID kind of delayed a lot of things, right, for many people. In her case, it was her sleepover. It's the first one. She was so excited. A close friend on her gymnastics team. They have a pool, a big yard. She was so looking forward to swimming, just hanging out with her friends. And as she was running to get to the van, get in the van, the last minute, Gail said to her, "Go and grab your sweater. It's going to be a little chilly. If you're going to sit outside by the campfire, go grab a sweater." So Elizabeth ran back in, and as she's running through to grab her sweater, look for a sweater, she stubbed her toe right against where the carpet meets the hardwood, and pain, tears, so much. She had kind of, I guess, broke her toenail, and you know how after a few days it gets that yucky look. Ugh, it was gross. A lot of blood. She was fine at the time, not so much. She still wanted to go. She went there, and we dropped her off. God bless her friend's family. They are so nice. We're actually going golfing with them next weekend. That's another thing. It was one of those things where you're like dropping off your upset child at somebody else's house for a sleepover for the next day or so. Sorry and thank you. And next day we picked her up, and I asked her, "How was your day? How was your night?" She was upset. She had a good time, but she was angry. Her stubbing a toe, her mom's fault of making her get a sweater is what ruined her whole weekend. It ruined her first sleepover. Elizabeth is Elizabeth. I love her. I said, "Well, so what did you do all weekend?" She says, "Well, I didn't get to go swimming." Well, okay, because of her toe, I get it. She didn't want, it was painful, it was whatever. You still want to bring that in the pool. Cool. So that's it? You just sat by the pool? It's like, no, we did a bonfire last night. They had s'mores, they had, whatever. She had fun. She got to drive their golf cart. They live on a farm, so they have all these little small equipment, fun stuff. She got to drive it. I said, "Was that okay with you?" She was like, "Yeah, it was really cool driving for the first time at her whatever young age." I'm like, "And that was bad?" She's like, "No, no, it was really fun." She listed a whole bunch of other things: the food she ate, the snacks, the desserts, and yet in her mind, it was ruined because she stubbed her toe. Now, is that a big deal? She reframed. We got her back on track, and she realized it was actually a really fun weekend. And the next time she got to sleep over, she jokingly said, "I'm not going to stub my toe. I'm going to go swimming." And she did. She had a great time. Where she decided at the end to put where she focused on probably turned around the whole weekend, or she could have just chosen to stay in her place of saying it was a bad weekend. It was a ruined sleepover. We had wanted to celebrate. We were in Toronto, actually last year around this time. It was May of last year. My daughter was in a cheer competition, and we had wanted to do some things on the off times, like when they're not competing. We're in Toronto. It was a beautiful weekend. It was actually really warm. It was a hot spring day. In fact, it was, I think, one of the warmest days in a few years. So we thought, let's enjoy it. And in the office, we had just kind of caught a little milestone. And any little milestone, as you guys might know me, I tend to want to celebrate. I think it's really important to celebrate the things you achieve. Again, it wasn't a huge goal, it wasn't a huge thing. It was a milestone on our way to a bigger goal. So in Toronto, I said to my family, "I'd like to celebrate this. And how we're going to celebrate, it's not too big. We want to make it appropriate." I said, "Let's find a nice dessert place and let's get something nice, a nice treat." We found this little bakery. It was in the Chinese, I guess, a food district, or I don't want to say Chinatown, but it was in an area where there's a lot more Chinese restaurants and so on, and including bakeries. Went inside, and it smelled nice. It was, a typical bakery, if you will. The difference was they sold different types of pastries you would find at a Chinese place as opposed to other Chinese bakeries. So it was different. I wasn't really familiar with some of the things they offered, so it was intriguing. So I thought this was a good place to celebrate. I looked at a couple of their options, and the one that caught my eye, they all look gorgeous. They all look nice. It was a $15 piece of cake, a really, maybe this big of cake. It was expensive, not typically the cake that I would buy, and I thought to celebrate, this is when you typically go a little bit over the top. So I said, I kind of want that cake, the durian cake. Now, I don't know what durian is. I never even heard of this before. And for those of you that know this story, I know it's a pretty fantastic story. So slow down. We're gonna get there. And the lady said, "You want the durian cake?" Yes. It's like, "Oh, okay." And she paused, and I thought that was really strange. And I said, "Okay, well, no big deal." And she takes it out of behind the glass counter and so on, and she starts to unfold the box. And she looks at me, "Are you sure you want the durian?" And I said, "Yeah, I do. I think it's pretty good." I'm thinking in my head, the $15 price, maybe that's what she thinks is throwing me off. Maybe I paused. Maybe my reaction was a little bit something. I have no idea. And she's like, "Well, it has. Have you ever had durian?" I'm like, "No, I don't even know what durian is." And so she said to me, "Well, it has a strong taste, and some people don't necessarily love it." I said, "Okay, well, I'd like to try it." It's like, "Okay." And then she pauses again as she's trying to put together the pastry box. It has a strong smell. Okay, um, sounds good. And I'm thinking in my head, she's really not selling this cake. Like, this is not the words you would use to describe something like dessert. But I'm still game. I'm still going. Now I'm like all in. I want this cake now. Whatever she's not letting me or thinking I don't want, I want. So she's wrapping up some more. She goes, "Do you want to smell it?" And I thought, okay. That was the strangest questions. I've never had somebody ask me in a pastry place if I want to smell the food before I buy it. Sure. So she holds it up. I put my nose in it, and it's a bit awkward, and I take a nice breath. I smell I can only describe it as that Chinese icing. It, it has that, I want to say, even almost an artificially type of sweetness to it. So be it. It is what it is. I'm good. And I nod. Yeah, okay, great, thank you. And she looks at me, pauses, has this weird look on her face, and then big smile. It's like, hey, he got it, he's fine. She puts it in the box and starts wrapping it up, and she's like, okay, good. And she's tying it. You know that baker's or that pastry string or twine or whatever they use? She cuts it, she starts tying it up. And as she's doing this, it hits me. Oh, I got a second hint of smell of the scent. It wasn't immediate. I thought, oh no, what was that? It was not a good smell. Now, in my mind, as soon as she cut that string, that bakery twine, and she starts tying it up, it's too late now. For whatever reason, I could not say no anymore. I wanted to. All of me inside was like, hold on, let's slow down a little bit. And I couldn't. I just smiled and nodded and then paid for it. And I take the box. We go into our car, into the van, and my family looks at me. Okay, let's try this cake. And I started laughing. They're like, what's going on? And I said, it smelled like something. It had a good scent. And my family's like, what? I'm like, no, it didn't smell good. And like, why did you say this? I'm like, because it wasn't immediate. So we open the cake, we take a bite, and we each take a bite. And we all smell first. I make them smell it first. And they're like, oh my gosh, what is that smell? Like, it is strong. It is a good smell. When I Googled it later what durian was, I think off the top of my memory, it was something durian smells like rotting flesh, gym socks, and rotting vegetables. Here's what I'm going to say. I agree. It did. It smelled exactly like that. It is such a bad smell. I think in Malaysia, eating durian in public is actually banned. It's an offensive smell. So, anyways, we're eating this cake, and the first bite, they gave up. My girls were like, I can't eat this. This is terrible. My wife, she didn't even want to try it. Gail was like, it smells so bad. I don't even want to try it. We all tried it. Me, I'm pretty tolerant. And the first bite I had, I gotta admit, it wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. It didn't taste like it smelled. My only description was it felt in my mouth. It felt like how it smelled: rotting flesh, vegetables, gym socks. It felt like how it smelled. I took a second bite. Still couldn't get it because it didn't taste like it. It felt like it. And I took a third bite and I said, you know what? I'm good. I don't need any more. I'm good. In fact, the smell was so bad. I had it in our van and we were going to Ikea. We had to buy a desk for my daughter. And again, I just said, we got to Ikea, we parked, we put it in the back just so it was away from us. Get to IKEA, we get out, we do our shopping. Now, for those of you who've been to IKEA, how long does it usually take when you walk the floor? You do that, right? It's about an hour. Okay. We buy the desk. We're waiting for them to get it off, whatever, and we put it in our van. And as I opened the van, keep in mind it was the hottest spring day in a while. Van durian cake back of the van, heat. The whole van smelled like rotting vegetables. The whole van. It was so bad. We loaded it up. I took the cake. I threw it away immediately. It was a van ride. It was a good one. Later that evening, my wife said to me, you know, you want to celebrate this milestone. You got this horrible cake. Do you want to get something else? Because I feel like it wasn't the celebration you wanted. And she wasn't wrong. It was a terrible dessert. Um, I got 3 bites, maybe 2 more bites than I needed, maybe three actually. Yeah, it wasn't great. And then I had to think, you know, it was actually an amazing celebration. The the laughter that we all had about it. The smell of the horrible van when we got out of IKEA was worth it. It was so fun, that memory. I have a great memory of this celebration. I have a great story. It it's durian. It is what it is. And I said, you know, no, I think that was a great way to celebrate. It wasn't so much the dessert that I wanted. I think it was the memory. And it was a great memory. Now, I could have spent all that attention on how bad that cake was and reflected what a horrible way to celebrate any milestone or anything in general or even to enjoy $15. Or it could have been, it was an amazing event, amazing moment, and it was fun. It was with the people I love, people I want to be with, and the memory was awesome. Hey, if you're going through your own stories, you have your own things where you're reflecting upon, and you're only seeing the side that you want to tell, the stuff that you don't love, and you keep on rehashing it, or you just can't let it go. Ask yourself now, where's the purpose in that story? Is there anything else that you're seeing in it that maybe you're overlooking, or you have been? Maybe there's a new opportunity in that story in itself. Or maybe it's a story that you no longer need to be telling. You no longer need to be reliving or thinking. Putting your focus on where you want. You can choose to put it on that. There's nothing wrong in that. And you can choose to put it on something else. For me, I've been noticing the more I choose where I put my attention and direct it to the positives, the stuff that I want, the stuff that gives me joy, it tends to kind of create the day I want, those moments. And it seems to affect those around me as well. It's a great way to kind of direct. If you're having trouble keeping that focus, keeping that action of where you put it, and you just seem like, you know, I know I'm supposed to not think about it. I know I want to do something else, and it's hard. I can't. Give me a call, send me a message, and let me know if I can help. This is what I do. It is so fun when you find those little strategies or the new ways of doing things that just really changes the whole way you're moving, the whole trajectory of where the path you're on. And when you find yourself reaching your goals, the successes were once seemed unachievable, or the new life that you've kind of unraveled or you've attained, it's so fun. If you're having those months where you know you want something different, you can't seem to get to where you want to be who you want to be, do what you want to do, and have what you want to have, give me a call. Let me know if I can help, and I would love to lend what I can, teach what I can. Anyways, you guys, thanks for sharing. This is a little bit long. Please forgive me for that. Hope you enjoyed it. And take care. Have a nice day. Bye, guys.